What is up, family and friends and family and strangers and neighbors? And if you have ears and they work correctly, then you are hearing these words, and that's awesome. And what a wonderful, amazing technological marvel it is that we can speak to each other over vast distances. Oh my God, the anthropological, people would have their minds blown, spinning like a top, explosive, full power, magical, wondrous world that we live in situation. Awesome. And so unstable. That is awesome. And we're here to Sunday night, and it is New Year's Day 2023. If you believe in and follow Gregorian, Babylonian bullshit, say that I don't. But whatever. I mean, numbers and it is winter. It is the dark part of the winter. We just got excited for the winter solstice, the longest night of the year, and which is nice because, man, that sun going down at afternoon is just, it makes it challenging. But this year I'm ready to rise to the challenge. I have been continuing my full power assault on my lesser self and continuing to be my the best I can be. And so that's great. And I really made the intention this year with the winter solstice to take that darkest, coldest, shortest day part of the year and use it like a slingshot. And we're going to stay hyper focused during these times when it's cold and dark and lonely and depressed and stuff like that. And we're going to be that much more adamant about being our best selves and being full power through this time, so that when it's time to go into an expansive mode in summertime, we're just going to be hitting it full throttle, full power, and people are know what hit them. What have you been doing all winter to be so awesome now? Well, I'll tell you. I'll show you. Let's do it together. Yeah. Exuberant enthusiasm and hoping some vocabulary-gasm from, Anyway, I hope you like my vibe. I cultivated just for you. Once again, here we are. Life continues, and we continue the mission. We're manifesting heaven. These to the order of the universe and the fact that things in general come together and are good and go well. And that if the rule of the universe were chaos, and that if evil won and chaos won, that none of our cells and tissues and stuff could collaborate and work together well enough for us to live at all. If chaos was the rule of the universe, all of our cells and atoms would be spontaneously flying off in random directions at every given moment. We could not possibly compose the order and the synchrony that is required for all of our complex cell systems and structures to function in harmony. There is a force of aging and things like this, but it is the weaker of the forces, and the stronger of the forces is the light. You can take a completely dark room and put a small point of light in it, a candle or something, and that light will light up a large area. You can see someone's face across from you with that bit of light. Completely bright room full of light, and you put a small exist. And so of the forces, and this ordering, harmonious, sacred geometric, periodical, rhythmic, proportional, Fibonacci sequence, golden mean spiral, etc. of the universe is what we know as God. And of course, God is an omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient force that we couldn't possibly comprehend from a human perspective. So we can only possibly approximate it. But that this force, to reduce it to a human abstraction, facilitate for the goodness to come out, the goodness will facilitate for you to flourish and prosper and to experience abundance and health and balance and joy. And so that is why we're here. That is my lesson for you. This is my offering to you. These are the lessons that I have struggled for and fought for in my journey, and have had, lots of tears and deep depressions and to the lows, and God bless the lows, because they gave me the perspective of gratitude and to be thankful for where I am now. And we're just gonna what happens, and that's all there is to it. So that was the message that's given to me, and that's the message I'll give to you. Whatever you're doing, wherever you're at in life, whatever you have going on, do your best, give thanks, gentle, tender, caring, kind, in a good way, in the best, nicest, caring way possible. Be wise as serpents be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So the lamb lays down with the lion and or wolf. There's an interesting article on the Mandela effect, touching on multiple timelines on the Anavon Writes on the paulstramer.net blog this week, and it was saying that the timeline has actually kind of changed now. If you look in the Bible and whatnot, it actually said the lion down with the wolf, whereas when I read it, and what I always have remembered, is that the lamb lay with the lion and the lamb. And so, this electromagnetic consensus reality is just a electromagnetic field of perception. And so basically, you want to talk about like forms of government, keeping in mind that guberamente, to govern the mind, means mind control. Government means mind control. But anyway, our government happens in a very organic, fluid. And then if you experience something, see, and something is wrong, you have not only the right but the duty to create a different outcome and to change it. And us being a mammalian, talk about being closely related to genetically to orangutan or primate or whatever. It's very primal sometimes, and there comes a point where like there comes a point where like, yo, if you want to change the world, you got to do it. And if we're going to put an end to some of this stuff, you got to kind of, sometimes you got, sometimes you got to step up, and communicate boundaries clearly and be prepared to defend them. So, I mean, I want to say sometimes you just got to step up and pop someone in the nose, and maybe that's true. And we can strive to live in a world where we minimize those times, and where, where peace is the rule and situations happen as infrequently as possible. But for the type of stuff in this world in the last couple of years, like, we need to be very forceful in communicating clear boundaries and holding people accountable. And that's all I'll say about that. I believe in peace so strongly, and I think that we can live in a world where war is a distant memory and also a warning about what can happen if you don't govern yourself diligently, etc. But they say, better to be better to be a soldier in a garden than a farmer in a war sort of situation. And you know, if you desire peace, prepare for war sort of vibe. So you know, I'm hitting the bag again. I'm you know, putting on the boxing gloves and, you know, and on the heavy bag a little bit. And I don't know, it feels, you know, but whatever. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I fight for love, sort of. So it is what it is. Anyway, strategic in your mind of how you place yourself in the world and how you orient yourself towards challenging people, and energy and whatnot, so that you can get out in front of conflict and you can you know, resolve it before it comes. If you communicate your boundaries clearly, verbally and energetically, we can live in a world where it never has to come to physicality. But we can also know that potential is always there, and that in fact, if we slip on our path and we lose the focus of peace and balancing the energy and being, you know, bringing healing energy to our spaces and our situations, that not only can the situation, but they're actually inevitable in that situation. If you don't practice peace, if you don't wage peace in every moment in every day and make it your highest priority, or one of your highest priorities, peace as an offshoot of love, of unity, these sort of things, then, you know, then conflict and violence and war becomes an inevitability. So this is, you know, brings home why it's so darn important for us to do our work every single day and be our best selves all the time, every time. You know, and also to understand that, you know, nobody's best is good enough. No, you know, everybody's best. You could always do a little bit better. You could always do a little bit more, and so we can have compassion for our fellows. You know, that we all know that subconscious feeling of not being good enough for the Most High, and wondering our opportunity at this one magical, infinitely valuable life. You know, these feelings, the sort of feelings I get sometimes when I take too strong of a hit off the ganja, and you're just in your head for a moment in that psychological mode of like, oh man, it's too much, it's overwhelming, and I'm not doing enough, I'm not good enough, like, da, 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 da. You know, which I think is one of the actions, how the ego plays at you, and realize that there is nothing that you can do that would have good enough. The only thing that's good enough, and then stay in alignment with that. You know, there's, and this is, I think, an important little lesson of like, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And because you'll always be in flow state. And so when people talk about work, they talk about it in the sense of doing something that they would rather not be doing, would rather be doing something else. You know, and I think, you know, when I like use cannabis, you know, you'll like, and oftentimes, like, you know, in certain work situations, I like to smoke cannabis while I'm working. You know, if I'm doing something that I'm competent at and that I know how to do, and is you know, that I can focus on, like you know, working with my hands or something that I know how to do. Man, I'll smoke some weed and I'll get in a flow state really nice. And you know, before you know it, a couple hours goes by, you know, the whole day goes by, and it's real pleasant. You put on some reggae music or whatever you're doing. If you're painting a house, or if you're, you know, working on, you know, a project, or, you know, art or writing, or, you know, something, you know, cannabis really facilitates that flow state in a nice way, without wonky like mushrooms or whatever. I think that the mushrooms and stuff, especially at larger doses, just like takes you kind of out of focus to be able to do those sort of things. Although it does really, you know, kind of expand your palette. You have access to energies at a depth that you wouldn't normally have. So a lot of people, for like artistic stuff, do enjoy using psychedelics, that sort of thing. But for like engineering projects and stuff, for like conceptual stuff, for like idea making, I think it's good. But for like banging a hammer or being, you know, hanging off of a 100-foot scaffolding or something, maybe you don't want to be tripping your face. You know, Happy New Year, if you may. Happy all the time, every time. It's a blessing to be alive. And I'm just happy to share that moment with you. I have some exciting things going on at the moment. I have some projects that I'm working on. I'm getting a case of small bottles that I'm going to bottle up these tinctures that I made. They're really nice, high quality. Yeah, I have the recipe right here. I made these tinctures last year. I made them on the eclipse back in December of last year. It was a full moon eclipse. And I made these and I put them out under the moonlight, charged them up. And they're with alcohol. They're made, so I did it out